Hey guys, it's me again, Nicole, and welcome back to Nicole's View. So I know some of you are like, God damn, she's still talking about this Bill Cosby trial. Yes. Um, I had said earlier when I started my channel that I wanted to follow this simply because I want to show you guys, and many of you, I know you're like, okay, we get it. We definitely know that there was a setup. We know there was some racist bullshit going on here. But it's just so important that after this so-called mistrial against Mr. Cosby and how this all went down and how the media, they are on this just racist, sick, demented, demonic witch hunt to see this man go down, this black man. We have to just keep saying that at the end of the day. He is a black man and they want to see him go down. So as I had said first in my video yesterday, the first video I did about the possible breakdown of the jury, like I had heard somewhere that it was like 11-1, and then late last night it started coming out, oh, it was 10 guilty to 2 not guilty. So all day you guys have been reading that, right? Well, that's wrong. The person who came out and said that it was 10 guilty to 2 not guilty was an alternate juror. Now, this alternate juror was the first juror to come out and say that, and say that, oh, he would have convicted Cosby. And so all day, I'm sure you guys have seen the headlines, you know, jury 10 to 2, 10 guilty, 2 not guilty. Cosby got off because of two jurors. They would not change their decision. They were stuck in their decision. They were not going to not be moved. They're going to say that 2 of the charges, the jury voted 10 guilty to 2 not guilty, and then on one of the other charges, the third charge, or it was actually the second charge, I'm just saying the third charge, with the third charge they voted 11 not guilty to 1 guilty. So I'm sure you guys have been reading that in the media. I mean, I've gone on Facebook earlier today. That's all you saw. ABC News. You know, they made it sound very evil, and how these 2 bad jurors, they were just not gonna convict Cosby. And you see the witch hunt. You see how there are people out there that have this sick, evil, racist agenda. All they see is the big boogie man, the black man who needs to be tamed and killed and hunted. And even though they may not actually try to kill Bill Cosby, but they are trying to kill Bill Cosby. They are trying to make this man be just so engulfed in this, to be so just stressed out by this, that they want to see him die. Because quite frankly, this case is it's, as I've said before, it's bullshit. It's a fraud. It's a farce. It's fake. It's just everything you can think of. Racist. All of the above. So once that alternate juror came out, a main juror came out, and he was just like, no, 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 no. That's not how it was. It was actually, now this to me sounds more believable. I was on the verge of thinking, well, maybe it is, a majority not guilty and only 1 or 2 guilty. But no, he said it was damn near split down the middle on like all of the charges. So that alternate juror who came out and just said that, it's not true. He basically threw the media a bone, and the media is running with the 10 guilty, 2 not guilty headline. So just so you know, don't be duped, don't be fooled. It's bullshit, because this juror is calling this juror out, saying, no, there were times where it went back and forth. I mean, he says this in the article. I'll skim through some of this article, and I'm also going to play this juror and what he thought. And he basically said, yeah, this sounds like bullshit, in so many words. And so I am reading this from Philly.com, and it says, Cosby juror says he didn't believe well-coached Constant. I want to get him out there. And for some reason, I thought they were not even supposed to say anything about this case, but apparently, I guess they are saying something. So they're like, hey, if you're going to put me out there, I'm going to say what I believe. So here goes. And it says, a juror in Bill Cosby's sex assault trial said Thursday that he did not believe the testimony of accuser Andrea Constant because she willingly went alone uh, to the entertainer's home and brought him gifts on more than one occasion. Now, we have been saying this for the longest. That, hello? Can you honestly tell me that someone who claims to have been victimized, that they're going to continue to interact or be with their um, accuser? They're going to interact. They're going to bring him gifts. They're going to go to shows. They're going to do this. We've said this a billion times, but of course, people don't want to hear that. They only want to hear Bill Cosby is a rapist, Bill Cosby a rapist, because they've been programming that in the mind of the mass. So, continuing. She was well coached, he said, of Constance 2 days on the witness stand. Let's face it, she went up to his house with a bare midriff and incense and bath salts. What the heck? I like this juror. The juror who spoke with the Inquirer and the Daily News at his home on the condition of anonymity would not say whether he wanted to convict or acquit Cosby, but he said the 7 men and 5 women on the panel were nearly evenly split after 52 hours of deliberations, a deadlock that prompted Montgomery County Judge Stephen O'Neill to declare a mistrial on Saturday. He also said Cosby had already paid dearly for the allegations and should not be retried. The juror was the second to offer a window into the deliberation room of the case, and his account appeared to contradict the first juror, as I just told you guys. That juror told ABC News on Monday that 10 of the 12 panel members were prepared to find Cosby guilty on 2 of the 3 counts against him. The juror had discussed the case. Thursday said that at one point, deep into deliberations, there had been a 10-2 vote to convict Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting Constant, but that three panel members later changed their votes and wanted to acquit him. So this is why we have to be so careful. And that's why last night I kept saying, well, this is alleged, this is a rumor, this isn't true, because the media, they're you know how they operate. They were ready to just put this out there, and they have put this out there. They have not, as I've seen yet. I've seen local news affiliates talk about this man, but the mainstream, they're running with the narrative that it was 10-2, 10 guilty, 2 not guilty. Let's see. He said the votes were split up the middle. Young and old, black and white, men and women, he said. He said he thought the jury failed to reach a unanimous verdict because the language describing the charges, 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault stemming from an incident in 2004, was confusing and too legal. Jurors struggled over terms such as reckless and severely impaired while debating whether Cosby drugged and molested Constant without her consent, he said. Some of the requests to review testimony during deliberations, he said, were based on desire to find those words in the evidence. We were trying to match testimony up with the charges, he said. Everybody's interpretation of those words was something different. He spoke a day after O'Neill, acting on a petition from news outlets, including the Inquirer and Daily News, released the names of the 12 jurors and 6 alternates who were chosen in the county and sequestered for the trial near Norristown. Most have since refused to comment on the case or their deliberations following a directive the judge gave before discharging them Saturday and repeated in a ruling this week. Though the juror who spoke Thursday did not reveal his vote, he did make clear his skepticism about Constant, the 44-year-old accuser from Toronto, who said she viewed Cosby only as a friend and mentor and never sought a romantic relationship. Specifically, the juror said she should have gone to Cosby's home only if she was dressed properly and left the incense in the store. referring to a gift that she brought him when the two formed a friendship before the alleged assault. In a deposition read to jurors, Cosby detailed a sexual liaison he had with Constance when she showed up at his home with her midriff exposed sometime before the night of the alleged assault. Constance denies that encounter ever happened. Okay. Still, the jurors' impression seems to echo the trial defense Cosby's lawyer sought to present, that Constance, then a 31-year-old Temple University employee, was in or seeking a romantic relationship with the then 66-year-old entertainer and world-famous university trustee. He said he found Cosby's own words in his 2005 to police I'm sorry. He said he found Cosby's own words in 2005 to police and in the deposition for the civil lawsuit filed by Constant convincing in that deposition, and since Cosby maintained any sexual contact was consensual. He was extremely honest. He admitted to things, the juror said. He also saw Constance's mother as the driving force behind her decision to report the alleged assault to police a year after it occurred. It was her mother who foresaw this, the panel member said. Now, see, this juror was awake. This juror was like, wait a minute. Something is amiss here. This juror is pretty much saying what a lot of us have been saying. I said that in one of my other videos, that the mother, now when you break down her testimony, it sounds like she convinced her to do this. Continuing, he also said the jury did not let the allegations of more than 60 women who have come forward to accuse Cosby of sexual misconduct influence its decision. He said he believed many of those women fabricated their claims. This is ridiculous, unbelievable, he said. I think more than half jumped on the bandwagon, like we've been saying these last some odd years. Nor did he feel that he or others were influenced by outside information or by Cosby's celebrity. The juror, one of the older members on the panel, said he used to watch The Cosby Show occasionally, but was never an avid fan. During the trial, he said he saw not a superstar, but a tired old man. I think he was weathered, he said. I wondered if he was going to be able to make it through the whole trial the first couple of days, but he did. Jurors did not yell or argue during deliberations, he said, but the room was tense, once draped in prolonged silence. So that was another one of the, if you read the media articles today, they were saying it was intense and they were about to come to blows and this and that. And this juror is saying the complete opposite. There had been one 10-minute break of total silence, and then the questions came up. Did the courthouse have a chapel? He said. There was no chapel, and deliberations continued. But in the end, he said, the jury was stalled on everything. Cosby, 79, has paid dearly already for the allegations against him, the juror said, because his career has been destroyed. He said he did not think District Attorney Kevin R. Steele should pursue a retrial, as he has said he will do. They should have left it closed. There wasn't enough evidence to move the case forward, he said, echoing Cosby's lawyer's arguments about the 2005 decision by then District Attorney Bruce L. Castor, Jr. to close the case without charging Cosby. Now, he said, there was nothing to consider beyond decade-old evidence. No stained garment, no smoking gun, nothing, the juror said. The juror said most members of the jury exchanged contact information when it ended and voiced a desire to keep in touch. But he said he would not keep in contact with his peers, and he won't pay attention if there is a second trial, he said. It would be a waste of Montgomery County money with the money it cost, he said. He said he and other jurors were treated well during their stay in Norristown. Asked whether he enjoyed the experience, the juror said simply, I'm glad I did my civic duty. Now, this juror just basically let you guys know in a nutshell what happened, okay? And it is simply amazing how what he's saying is like night and day compared to that alternate juror, isn't it? Completely night and day. And it's also being reported, I thought it was in this article, but it's not, that as these deliberations went on, They moved this jury from a nice wide open room literally to a small 13 by 16 room. So they were literally trying to drain this jury. They were torturing this jury into convicting this man. That right there alone, someone should look into suing this county, that judge, everyone, because this sounds just utterly evil. What's going on? They were trying to break that jury. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now, I want you guys to listen to this juror in his own words. In his own words. All right, let me get it all started. It is about 11 minutes, so if you have the time to listen, sit back and enjoy.
Tell you what I heard. The incident happened in '04. I was justified. Took her 1 year to report it to the Toronto police after the incident. That was a big question. However, they brought an expert in who said in all sexual assault cases, people try to keep it to themselves and rectify it in their minds, and a year is reasonable to trouble yourself with it before you report it to the police, or longer. And I've heard this in a paper with like these clergy, where these guys come forward later. I mean, not this, but he testified that that's hard for me to believe, that I've been injured and it takes me a year to report it. That's difficult for me to believe. '04, the incident. '05, she reported it. At that time, there was an investigation that went on for months. The district attorney didn't have enough evidence to have a case in '05. He sealed it. He closed it. And I understand that the assistant district attorney at that time, this is hearsay, I don't have any, didn't read it or anything, I just heard it. The assistant district attorney at that time in '05 is now a Montgomery judge, county judge. 2 weeks before the statute of limitations run out, the new judge called Andrea and called Kelly Johnson in California and started this thing, reopened the case. All the testimony we heard was from '05. Same thing that the district attorney sealed. No new evidence from '05 till now has shown up. No stained clothing, no smoking gun, nothing. All she remembered from 11 years ago, she testified on a stand, and then reported. He openly admitted that what he gave him, he gave him pills, and he almost incriminated himself, but very, very honest from his side. You could believe from his testimony what he did, but not from hers. So we working with an 11-year-old case reopened by a new judge. That's hearsay.
Where did you hear that? That part about the judge?
Just being over there and hearing different people talk. I can't quote anybody. I just heard it.
But I mean, it wasn't part of the
Montgomery County.
It wasn't part of the testimony.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. And so
the question came up. What started this up again? Did they find any new evidence? And I specifically asked, did they find some stained clothing or something with this DNA and all that stuff now? And they said no. There was this judge reopened the dang case.
But I just want to be clear on this. I mean, these are conversations you're having with the other jurors, and the other jurors knew about this, or where'd you hear that the other judge reopened the case? I mean, who told you that?
Among the 18 people that were there,
Okay.
18 jurors, somewhere among them in general talk.
Okay.
So rumors among the jurors, basically, from what you're saying.
Somebody
Hearsay. Somebody heard something and shared that with you guys.
Okay.
Asked what
I guess what I'm saying
when
is
we're
you
trying
weren't.
to find evidence. They said that politics is involved. Oh, great. And that's where the politics came in. Whatever this assistant district attorney had, why the assistant district now a judge reopened it for no reason. There was no new evidence, nothing. Just the statute of limitations were running out.
Did that really bother you?
Yes, it does. I think they created this whole thing, a case that was settled in '05, and we had to bring it up again in '17. Now, let me tell you what I heard. The incident happened in '04. That was justified. Took her 1 year to report it to the Toronto police after the incident. That was a big question. However, they brought an expert in who said in all sexual assault cases, people try to keep it to themselves and rectify it in their minds, and a year is reasonable to trouble yourself with it before you report it to the police, or longer. And I've heard this in a paper with like these clergy, where these guys come forward later. I mean, not this, but he testified that that's hard for me to believe that I've been injured and it takes me a year to report it. That's difficult for me to believe. '04, the incident, '05, she reported it. At that time, there was an investigation that went on for months. The district attorney didn't have enough evidence to have a case in '05. He sealed it, he closed it. And I understand that the assistant district attorney at that time, this is hearsay, I don't have any, didn't read it or anything, I just heard it. The assistant district attorney at that time in '05 is now a Montgomery judge, county judge. 2 weeks before the statute of limitations run out, the new judge called Andrea and called Kelly Johnson in California and started this thing, reopened the case. All the testimony we heard was from '05. Same thing that the district attorney sealed. No new evidence from '05 till now has shown up. No stained clothing, no smoking gun, nothing. All she remembered from 11 years ago, she testified on a stand, and then reported. He openly admitted that what he gave him, he gave him pills, and he almost incriminated himself, but very, very honest from his side. You could believe from his testimony what he did, but not from hers. So we working with an 11-year-old case reopened by a new judge. That's hearsay.
Where did you hear that part about the judge?
Just in being over there and hearing different people talk. I can't quote anybody. I just heard it.
But I mean, it wasn't part of it wasn't part of the testimony.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. And so
question came up. What started this up again? Did they find any new evidence? And I specifically asked, did they find some stained clothing or something with this DNA and all that stuff now? And they said no. There was this judge reopened the dang case.
But I just want to be clear on this. I mean, these are conversations you're having with the other jurors, and the other jurors knew about this, or where'd you hear that the other judge reopened the case? I mean, who told you that?
Among the 18 people that were there,
Okay.
18 jurors, somewhere among them in general talk.
Okay.
So rumors among the jurors, basically, from what you're saying.
Somebody
Hearsay. Somebody heard something and shared that with you guys.
We asked what.
I guess what I'm saying
Well,
is you
we're trying
weren't.
to find evidence. They said that politics is involved. Oh, great. And that's where the politics came in. Whatever this assistant district attorney had, why the assistant district, now a judge reopened it for no reason. There was no new evidence, nothing. Just the statute of limitations were running out.
Did that really bother you?
Yes, it does. I think they created this whole thing, a case that was settled in 05, and we had to bring it up again in 17.
All right, guys. So you heard that. Let me see. Let me try to.
There was a lot of focus.
So I hope you guys can hear that okay. But this sounded like one juror that's just like, wait a minute, I am seeing through the bull. I am seeing this for what it is. And in another article, I saw that he felt it was politically motivated, like we've been saying it was. This guy ran his campaign, this Kevin Steele, on taking down Bill Cosby. So yeah, I mean, what else could it be? So, as he said, it was split down the middle. It went anywhere from 7 to 5, not guilty, guilty. It swung between that, or 5 to 7, guilty, not guilty. So the media narrative right now that it was, 10 to 2, no. This juror said that's actually not true, because even when they were thinking that, they ended up changing their mind again. Like 3 of the jurors changed their mind. So yeah, I mean, this is just insanity. But that came out today. So Mr. Cosby now and his representatives, today they appeared on Good Day Alabama, and they talked about how Bill wants to do like a town hall. Bill Cosby wants to do a series of town halls discussing and educating young athletes and married men on how to avoid accusations of sexual assault. And this is what he plans to eventually do. And of course, the media, once they got wind of this, they did their usual. And I'm reading this from the New York Times. And it says that Bill Cosby is planning a series of town hall meetings this summer to educate people, including young athletes and married men, on how to avoid accusations of sexual assault. 2 of his representatives said Wednesday. The announcement came just days after Mr. Cosby's trial on sexual assault charges ended in a hung jury. And while he is still battling civil suits from other women who say he assaulted them too. And it says this issue is bigger than Bill Cosby, his representative Andrew Wyatt said on Good Day Alabama, Fox 6 in Birmingham. This issue can affect any young person, especially young athletes of today. He continued, and they need to know what they are facing when they are hanging out and partying when they are doing certain things they shouldn't be doing, Mr. Wyatt said. The issue also affects married men. Ebony M. Benson, who works with Mr. Wyatt and joined him on the program, said the need for awareness has grown because the statute of limitations on sexual assault have been extended in several states. In some cases, the legislative efforts were aided by women who have accused Mr. Cosby of molesting them. People need to be educated on a brush against the shoulder, she said. Anything at this point can be considered sexual assault. And of course, in typical white supremacist fashion, the Cosby announcement drew immediate rebukes from several quarters, including the anti-sexual violence organization RAINN. It would be more useful if Mr. Cosby would spend his time talking with people about how not to commit sexual assault in the first place, said Jody O'Meara, an organization spokeswoman. So this devil here is basically saying that Bill Cosby, he did this and he should be talking about, I guess, almost in so many ways repenting. Kristen Hauser of the National Sexual Violence Resource Center said a number of organizations exist that would be far more appropriate choices to lead an educational program on this issue than Mr. Cosby, whom she described as a person who has 60 allegations of sexual assault against him. See, they don't like it when we twist the game on them. I think this is awesome. Throw it back in their faces. I think this is actually pretty smart of Mr. Cosby to do, because now he can get his side out. He can tell you the signs, what to look for, black men. He can tell you, listen to me and my dumb screw-ups, messing with these filthy ass women. You know, here's me, excuse my language, horning out when I was younger, and it came back to haunt me. And even still messing around in my older years, it still came back to haunt me. He has every right to do this. Gloria Allred, a lawyer who represents several women who have accused Mr. Cosby of assault, said the workshops appear to be transparent and slick effort to attempt to influence a jury pool from which jurors will be selected for his second criminal trial. Go to hell, Gloria Allred. One of the town halls will be held in Alabama in July, Mr. Wyatt said on the show. In a later email, he said Mr. Cosby has received hundreds of calls from civic organizations and churches requesting for Mr. Cosby to speak to young men and women about the judicial system. He said the program would include a critique of the decision by the prosecutors in Pennsylvania to charge him last year. Speeches will be free, Mr. Wyatt said. Mr. Cosby later thanked the television station for having his publicist on the show. He is currently free on bail while he awaits retrial of the criminal case in which he is charged with 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault in connection with the 2004 encounter with the woman, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so I think this is good. I think this is good. I think this is a great defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, all this time they've been, railing against this man, and they still are to this day. And he's like, oh, really? I'm going to take the narrative back. I'm going to take it back. And they hate it. Oh, do they hate it. So I'm sure you're going to see all the articles that are anti-Cosby. You're going to see, I even saw some of the tweets by accident. I wasn't even looking, but I typed in Bill Cosby. And you know how if they have a Twitter or tweet, whatever, tweets will pop up that's talking about him, and they're calling him a rapist. I mean, it just goes to show how deep, demented, and sick white supremacy are, and how there are many people who are foot soldiers for white supremacy, and seeing this man just go down in flames. They are like nothing but the racist devils of the 1950s, the 40s, and the 30s, who would go around, they would find black men, they would lynch them, they would burn them, they would cut their private parts off. But in this days, they don't have to do that. They just do it with your words, with their words. So yes, this is very important to talk about, and this is why whenever I hear what's going on with this case in this so-called retrial, I will be talking about it, because as he is saying here, Mr. Cosby, when he goes on these town halls, and look forward to all the fake racist feminists to come out and try to, disrupt them, but I hope they have ample enough security to throw them out on their asses. So hell, if one come near me, a town hall near me, I may try to go to one. If I can get the time off, I'll go to one and I'll film it and I'll show my support, because this is total bullshit. This is total bull. They are lynching this man and they are pulling the rope tighter and tighter and tighter. So yes, kudos and shout out to this juror, this the one of the main jurors, not an alternate, who came out and told the truth. He came out and said what the real deal is without even saying, I wanted to quit Cosby. In so many words, that's what he's saying, but he's trying to, not say that. So yeah, anyway, guys, so that was the latest in this. I'm sure we'll hear more and more and more as time goes on, and if there is a real retrial. So anyway, so let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.